All right, let's start with the session. So we are planning to do this session into two parts. That is this section one, that will be the Dart language, and section two, that will cover the Flutter widgets. Okay. So first 20 minutes we plan to spend on Dart widgets, Dart fundamentals like conditional statements, for loops, etc., and like just really basic Dart. Okay. So that you just get a hang of Dart. Okay. And the second thing that we'll move on to is Flutter. So once we move on to Flutter, we'll be able to create real applications and like you can generate APK, etc., and that kind of stuff. So these are the two sections I'm dividing this workshop into. And just as a reminder, of yesterday's session, as that is also important right now, that you can create applications for almost any platform using Flutter. Okay, let it be Android, let it be iOS, let it be Windows, let it be your website, let it be your Linux application or Mac OS application. So it's a hybrid application development framework, which is open sourced and developed by Google. So why are we talking about Dart? We are talking about Dart because Flutter uses Dart as its main language. For example, if you talk about React.js, right? So React.js uses JavaScript as its main language. Similarly, Flutter framework uses Dart. Okay, that's why we are trying to learn about Dart. Okay. So some points about Dart. Dart is a programming language again developed by Google. So this is an important point here. It is optimized for UI development. Okay. Dart is a language that is specifically optimized for UI development in cross-platform applications, and that's why it is being used in Flutter right now. And one great feature it has is that it is object-oriented programming language. So I think many of you would have heard about object-oriented programming somewhere in your course, in your syllabus, at your college, etc. So yes, Dart supports object-oriented programming as well. So that's a very good feature, I guess. And Dart is case sensitive. Okay. So any variable, any name you write in uppercase letters will be different from what you write in lowercase letters. Okay. So Dart is case sensitive. Moving on, the first thing that we are going to learn in Dart is that what are variables. Just I am going to like go through it once so that we are all on the same page after this Dart section. Many of you will already know what variables are, what for loops are, etc. But this is I'm telling you all this so that you are comfortable in Dart. Okay, we are going to do all this in Dart. So that is the main point here. So what are variables? What different types of variables, declaring variables and things like this. Okay. So what are variables? The variables are nothing, just containers which store data. You can say like this is storing my name, this is storing a list of maybe some numbers or etc. Things like this. Then moving on, like how do you declare variables in Dart? Okay. So there are 2-3 ways you can declare variables in Dart. You can declare variables in Dart using the data type, variable name, and the value. This is one way. You can also use the var keyword, which is present in Dart, like var, like this, var, name of the variable and the value. This is another way. There is another way you can do the same thing using the final keyword and the const keyword as well. Okay. So you can, there is a slight difference between these two, but like for the most part, you will always use like the data type or the var or final or something like that. Okay. So this is how you mainly like create variables in Dart. Okay. So let me just move to the next slide. Okay, now if you have Dartpad open right now, I would recommend you, and if you don't have the Dartpad open right now, I would say that just go ahead and try to open the Dartpad. I am also opening it in my system and sharing the screen. Okay, sharing the screen with Dartpad. Okay, I think my screen would be visible right now. So this is the Dartpad link which I shared. If like you guys can go to this link, that would be really great and follow along whatever I'm doing. This is in the chat right here. Okay. So yeah. So this is Dartpad. Okay. If anyone is having any issues like opening it or something like that, you can let me know. Okay. So the first thing that we need to do in order to run a Dart program, if any one of you knows C++, right? So you write void main. So we create a main function here, right? And then we write what, instead of writing like cout or system.out.println or like any other thing in any other language, we use here print, simply print. Inside of it, we can write string, hello world, simply like this, and it uses semicolons. Okay, I can run this program and I can see the output here in the console. Okay, so what we saw right now was like simple hello world program in Dart. You all can like, I would recommend that you all open this website and try to do this on your own system also, right? So that you also are comfortable with the Dart language. So we discussed 2-3 ways, right? How to create variables in Dart. Just here we discussed 2-3 ways. So one was this int, var, and this things like. So let's create 1 or 2 variables and then move on. So I can create a variable like my int and now I can assign it anything like 100. I can create another variable using this my variable and assign it a string maybe, right, like this. So this is how you can create variables, very simple, very basic stuff. Just going through so that everyone is on the same page and everybody is comfortable with this. So you can just print it like this. Now if I just run this thing, 3 of these things should get printed. Yeah, like this. Pretty easy, right? So let's move on to the next thing. So yeah, the next thing there is this conditional statements. And so like conditional statements, many of us will be familiar with already. Like if-else statements, these are. If you are not also, then it's fine. I'll explain you in this flow chart. So what basically conditional statements are is that your program flow comes from here. Here you define a condition, certain condition you define here, and then if that condition turns out to be true, you do this task 1. If it turns out to be false, you do this task 2. Very simple. If else, right? Simple conditions using if else. In Flutter examples, you can take an example of like if a customer is a like paid member, the condition. Okay, I'm writing a condition that if a customer is a paid member, unlock all the courses in your maybe course application, and if it is not, then like show him the like dummy page, or like show him the purchase now option. This kind of situation we can handle using these, right? Really important. Here we have the syntax. Or many of you will already know this. So very simple. If condition, do this, else do this. So let's go to the dartpad and simply try to write this down. Okay. So like this is about. If you want this, whatever source code we are writing over here, if you want this exact file, I can share it to you at the end of this session. Now let's just go ahead and create a variable called as a boolean variable. Let's create my bool and assign it a value of false, or maybe assign it true. We can go to the next line. If my bool equal true. Okay. Yes. Else print no. And put semicolon. Semicolons are really important. Now if I try to run this thing, you see it is printing yes, because we assigned it true, right? If we do it false, it would say no, right? Simple if-else conditions using Dart. Okay, this was the point that I'm trying to make here, that this is how you write if-else condition in Dart. You don't need to memorize anything, but like if you will do it enough times, you will already like your brain will automatically adapt to this. Okay, so that is how generally programming works, right? You do it enough times and like everything gets in your brain, like automatically you'll start writing that thing. So yeah, these were the conditional statements. Okay. Now the next thing I want to move on to is loops. So loops are basically like simple loops. What loops do is they perform repetitive tasks. Okay. So there is a condition over here. If this condition is true, do some task, increment the counter, and if the condition is true again, do that task again. Like do that task. This loop will keep going on, keep going on, keep going on until this condition turns out to be false. Once this condition is false, continue with the rest of the code. A general program flow with loops, right? A general program flow, nothing specific, just a general flow. So most of you will already know this, I guess, but again, I'm covering this. So like this is the syntax of your for loop. It contains of three things, right? If anyone is coming from C background or Java background, like these are all pretty similar, I guess. So I think for loops are similar in almost all the languages except for Python. Like in that you write in keyword using something. Okay, out of the point. Okay. So yeah, again, so this is initial value, termination condition, and step. These are the three things that mainly define the for loop, right? I'm copying this exact thing in front of you. And now let's go to this start pad, okay, and try to do this. If anyone of you is facing any troubles, like in working with this start pad or like you miss some point or something, like do unmute yourself and try to ask out, okay? That's not an issue for us, right? This is a hands-on workshop, so I expect that all of you will be doing this on your own systems right now, as I'm showing you all this. So if you run into any errors, like or any issues, just unmute yourself and let me know. So in the right, you see there are lots of errors coming up, right? These are because these are not real values, right? So I can create integer I equals to 0 and very similar flow, very simple flow here. And termination condition, let it be like I less than 5 and step can be like I plus equal 1, something like this. And let's print the value of I here. Right. Okay, so this is a simple example of for loop in Dart. Okay, very simple for loop. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 because it ranges from 0 to less than 5, less than the limit that we give here, right? This is how for loop works generally. So this is an example of simple for loop in Dart, like this. Okay. Now let's move on to some other things. Anyone has any queries or any difficulties, just unmute yourself and ask it out, okay? Like I'll be happy to help you out. Okay, the next thing is functions. So what are functions? Okay. Function is a block of organized reusable code that is used to perform a single or related action. Again, this is probably Wikipedia definition. Different programming languages name it differently, like functions, methods, subroutines, procedures, etc. Okay. So the basic gist of this functions comes out to be like all of this language, we can keep it aside and like you can simply come here. We had this if condition, right? What if I copy this if condition right here? I can write functions, and inside of the if condition, what I will do is I will do that. I will create a variable first. That let's create an integer variable. Name it as like number. Okay, and assign it some value like 19. If number %2 equal 0, print even. This is simple even odd program. Print even or else print odd. Let me comment out these things because we don't need them now. You can comment all of these out. I've commented all of these so that they don't come up in the console. Now, if I try to run this thing, as you all know, this number 19 is odd. So this should get printed, right? Let's run this. Okay. So hello world, because this and odd. Now, this is not about if else, right? We are supposed to talk about functions. So what I'm going to do is so what the definition said, okay? Read it. The function is a block of organized reusable code that is used to perform a single related action. Block of organized reusable code. This is the most important word here, line here. Okay. So this code can be useful in many places. Like you have a big code base, you are calculating prices in your maybe cart, maybe in product details page, something like that. Like this is a reusable, this is a code that will be used a lot of times, right? So what we can do instead of writing it like this, we can take this entire thing out. I'm just cutting this thing from here. I'm going above this main and I'm creating a function here. we need to give return types to function here. So let's give it Boolean return type maybe, or like let's not give it a return type at all. Or let's give it void, even, odd, checker. Thing here. Now this particular function will be of not much use because this number we are assigning like this only, right? So let's remove this from here. Let's take this out and pass it as a parameter. Int number. Okay, so this entire piece of code I put it inside this function. Many of you might know what functions are and how they work. I'm covering just this, all of this, just because so that we are all familiar with and on the same page with Dart language. Okay, we are working in Dart right now. Okay, this is not C++ or Java. Like I was getting into the vibe that this is C++ right now. Weird. Okay, so yeah, even or checker. I'm going to call this function here. And let's give it any number like 8 and put a semicolon at the end. Really important. Like coming from Python world, like putting semicolons is not a habit. That's why I'm keeping for two. Like I always forget to write these semicolons. Yeah. So I created a function that is even or checker, and you pass it any number, it will just return that it's a even or an odd number. Like if I put 81 instead of 8, so it will print even for the first one and it should print odd for the second one, right? So this is how functions work. So now it matches the definition exactly, right? What the definition was? A function is a block of organized reusable code. Organized reusable code that is used to perform single or related action. Exactly this is happening over here. See, this is a block of reusable code that organized reusable code that we are using to perform a single particular task, right? Exact definition, sir. So very simple up till now. Let's move on to the next thing. We are covering just basics of all of these things, right? The next important thing is classes. Okay, I would say that these many things like if else conditions you might not use that much in Flutter, but like classes are everywhere. Everything is a widget, and widget in turn is a class. Like everything is a class. Okay, in Flutter, so classes are really important, and I want to like explain these a little bit more than how I explained these things. If any one of you feels like this is going too fast, like that's because like I have to cover all this in 1 hour lecture. But we are planning for a 30 days of Flutter challenge of series also. So like in that we can cover everything in detail. We are just skimming through most of the parts right now. Okay. So if it's fast for you, then please keep this in mind. Else, rest is good. I think border classes. Okay. Come to the point. Class in terms of OOP is in blueprint for creating objects. Again, definition stuff. A class encapsulates data for an object. Definition, all right. Let's move on to this diagram. Okay, so we have a car class over here. Okay, so simply assume that this is a car class, or how we learned in definition that this is a blueprint. Okay, so this black car is a blueprint. Assume this is a blueprint, black car. And using that blueprint, we are going to create multiple car objects. Green car, red car, blue car, something like this. Okay, so this is how classes work. You create a blueprint of any object, like it can be your product. Like if you are creating an e-commerce application using Amazon, like Amazon or Flipkart, this class could be like an product object. If you're trying to create something like Netflix, this could be a web series object, a web series class, or web or like episode object, like something like that. Okay, episodes class, and you can create multiple episodes out of it. So just so that because we have taken the example of car, let's go ahead and create a car class in Dartpad and try to like do it that way. But you classes are simply like blueprints for creating objects, right? Classes. Okay, so here I become like on top of this, I'm going to create a class. This is syntax. This is syntax for writing classes in Dart. So let's name it car model. So here it's a model or a blueprint. And like this, we can define some properties like string or name. What all properties are there? Let me check back. Yeah. So let's put exactly these things. Like there is a name property. There is a, let me copy paste this thing. Let's not take too much, otherwise we'll have to give it that much data also. So like color, and what else we can give? We can give brand. Okay. So our car model has three fields: name, color, and brand. You can add lots and lots of data here like that. We are just adding these things for simplicity. Now, this is a blueprint, right? How do I create objects out of it? For that, you need a constructor. So we are going to create a constructor for this class, our model. And we are going to do it like this. This dot name, comma this dot color, comma this dot brand. Okay, so Dart uses this keyword. Okay, this keyword here, so that it refers to this particular object it refers to that particular object, right? There is a self concept in Python, similar if anyone is coming from Python world. So there is a self concept right there. You write self dot this, self dot something. So here we use this. Okay, this dot name, this dot color, this dot brand, and this is simply a like constructor for this class, right? And we can create some methods as well, like void print data. Like if anyone has taken like CAC branch or something, you would be already familiar with all of this. Like you would have done this in a lot more details. But we are doing this in Dart right now. Okay, that's the point. Print name. Yeah, made a spelling mistake, I guess. All right, print name. Brand. Okay, so this is the last part of this Dart section. Okay, we'll be moving on to Flutter right now only after this. So if anyone is feeling bored, like we'll be moving on to Flutter just after this thing, okay? Next topic we will be discussing will be of Flutter, and we will be creating real applications using all these things which we discussed right now. For anyone who was thinking like, why are we learning Dart and things like that? Okay. So yeah, print data. So let's create an object and try this thing out. Model, and let's create a car. Let's name it like Mustang. Model, and let's give it a name of like, I don't know what like Mustang is a name or something, like it's a brand, or like I know that it's from Ford company, but like I don't know the details. So let's write something, some random name over here, like what's his name, color, and brand. Okay, GT like 1901. I don't know, and let's give it a color of like blue, and let's give it a brand of Ford. Any car enthusiast, like I don't know proper this how this thing works. Okay, right. I'm just taking this as an example. Okay, let's create another model, or let's leave it like this only. Like one model will be fine for just demonstration purposes. So yeah, we have created this Mustang model object of this class. Okay, and what we can do now that we can access the methods of this class. Mustang dot print data. Like if you run this thing now, I can just simply comment out this as well. Run. Okay, so all this data has been printed. Name, color, and brand using this model. And now this particular these 2 3 lines, right? 52 to 54, or like simply 52 and 53. These are really important lines because in Flutter we will be dealing with objects and classes all the time. Like everything will be related to objects and classes only. Okay, very important lines. So there can be a lot more of detail that can be covered in all of these topics, okay? Because it's not in the scope of this video right now, this session right now, so that's why we're not covering it right now. Okay, so this was about classes, and I think I have just finished this presentation. Yeah, same explanation again. Classes, object. And yeah, the next section, the most interesting part, this was just all fundamentals of Dart that are covered in like 35 minutes. Okay. So the next thing is Flutter widgets. This is the most important part that anyone will be concerned about right now. Okay. Flutter widgets. So of course we cannot talk about all the widgets there are. For that, you can always visit out to this website. That is, how do we get rid of this particular thing? Let it move it. Okay, it's away. Okay, fine. Yeah. So you can visit this Flutter dev. Here, all the widgets are given or given up, like and documented properly as well. Like for example, if I go into this docs and this, you see widgets catalog here. If you click into this widgets catalog, there are like tons and tons of widgets that are there. Like this is the text widget. We'll be covering this because it's really important. Scrolling widgets, painting widgets, material components, styling, import async, like tons and tons of widgets. Like if you want to make an application that is specific for iOS, there are iOS specific widgets as well, like iOS style widgets. You go inside this, like all these like Cupertino alert, like are you looking at this thing? Like this is the specific to like your iOS devices, right? So this is how it is working. Okay, these buttons and things like that, and we have Android specific stuff as well. So like everything link to you in the chat. You can like explore it. Just you can explore it if you want. This this widget catalog. All right. So this was one part, and now let's move on to our widgets that we want to discuss. Right. That is scaffold, text, center, column, row, and maybe one or two more. Okay. Depending on like how we take things forward. So first widget is scaffold. So before jumping any into like any of these widgets, I would like you to like open this Flutter lab because now Dartpad's work is over. We are done with Dart. Okay. For up till now we are done with Dart. Now we want to work with flutlab.io. So I would request you all to like come to this website, sign up if you need to, or if you have attended yesterday's session. We did this yesterday as well, and create a new project. If you have a project, just simply hit enter and get into it. So if you have done all these things, you should be about here, okay? And yesterday I told that we are not covering any of these up till line 21, right? We are not concerned at all, like what is going on in line 21. And we only focused on things below it. So today we can discuss this thing, all right? So I guess I'll be able to like make you understand like how a little bit of things work in Flutter. Okay. So I hope so. Okay. So let's start with this. Let's try to run this project first. Web and build project. Will take a minute, I guess. Yeah, it should take a minute. In the meantime, you all can open this project. If anyone is facing any issues, like you can just unmute yourself and ask. All right. I'm waiting for you for 2 minutes because like it's also loading right now. So any issues you are facing right till now or any questions you might have, you can ask it.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, you're audible. Yes, please continue.
So, can you please send that link again because my
This
Microsoft
FlutLab
Teams
link,
is
FlutLab. Okay, FlutLab link. Are you asking about? All right, here is the FlutLab link.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, all right. So please open this FlutLab this link which I sent right now. How can we pin this thing? So please visit this thing and come to till this point because we'll be working with Flutter directly now. So yeah, my application is open. I hope like for those of you who are trying to follow along with this, a similar thing will be there for you as well. Like this is because we did this yesterday, right? If you want to be like up till this point, like I shared the code for this as well yesterday. So this is exactly where we left yesterday. So now let's talk about some widgets and how these things are working. Okay. So the first thing that you need to do in Dart code, that is void main. You see in the Dart pad we have void main, right? In Flutter also you need void main. Here it is, void main. And it is calling a function run app, which is indeed calling another class that is my app. So basically my app class is there. this is a class, right? We discussed classes right here. Class car model. Similar to this, there is a class my app, which is extending another widget. We don't need to care about that. It's not none of our business, right? Let it extend anything. We don't care. Yeah. So this is class. This is my app. Means class my app. Okay. So that's not the point. Okay. So yeah. How we look at here carefully. Okay. We created a function here, right? That is print data. We created a function. We can also have a return type to this function, but this is void. Okay. So we cannot have a return type. Let me make it like string or something. So we can return a string out of here. St return. Function for. So this is the return type I have provided, right? And this return type, if you have studied object-oriented programming, or if you have not studied, I am telling you, okay, just remember this thing. This will be useful to you like in every programming language, I guess. So yeah, the return type can be almost anything, like for example, this can be integer, this can be like your string as we are using it, this can be your list, in Dart at least, in Dart, this can be your list, this can be your function, this can be your another class you can return another class also. If I create two classes, we can return object of that class also. So this return type can be anything. This is my point here, okay. So similarly, now if we come back to this Flutter lab, and this class is there, right? In this class, now see very carefully, okay? Very carefully. If I can just increase the font size. Yeah, very carefully look here, okay? The same thing which we discussed right now is coming again, just in a different name. Okay. I get that one though. Okay, we can shrink this one. Windows 11 is great in these things. Yeah. So yeah, this is the return type, that is string. This is the name of the function. This is the return statement, right? Data type, that is return type, name of the function, and the return statement. Now we'll try to find the similar pattern in here. So, look here. This is a widget. Widget is what? Nothing but a class, internal class that is implemented. This is the name of the function, and this is the return type. Just it is so that it is returning more complex things. So you guys are not, you might not recognize this thing, but exact same thing is going on. It is simply a function that is built, and this build method is given by the stateless widget class. This stateless widget class is like already having a build function, and we are trying to override it. Okay, that's why this override is there. So this similar thing is going on here also. So I can remove all of these comments because they're making this thing like they're taking up this space, I guess. So let me remove everything. Let me remove all of these things. What else we can do? Like we can just, what else we can remove from here? Like how this code has been very, like we have stringed this code, right? So we can do is, we can just remove these 2-3 lines also, or we don't need these. And we can remove these from here as well, like this. Okay, now we are trying to like remove everything that is not required. So that everything is like looking clean at least. Commenting is definitely great. You can read it out, but for right now, we are doing this. So I'm sharing you this piece of code that we have here in the chat. If you are like following along, just paste this in. Okay, just paste this particular thing in, and we'll be on the same page. Just copy it from the chat and paste it here, and we'll be on the same page. This exact thing will be here. You can replace your name here if you want. Yeah. And let me hot reload. Yeah. So this exact thing which I am having over here, you will also have after just copy pasting that code. So now coming up to widgets. Okay. Now what is going on here? Simply put, every widget. So this is a widget which is of type stateless widget. There are two types of widget. Okay. One can be like stateless, and one can be stateful. Okay, so two kinds can be there. So about stateful, we cannot discuss in this lecture, and we cannot discuss much about stateless as well. So we are trying to like just remember that there are two kinds of widgets. That is, one is stateless and another is stateful. So these are both stateless widgets. This class Maya is a stateless widget. This class homepage is also a stateless widget. So now it won't matter. Like we are moving ahead. So now up till this particular line, you can simply ignore right now, and we can move on to this code, which is from here, line 14 or line 17, I would say. So this is the first widget that I want to talk about. That is a scaffold. Here in the presentation, I have also written scaffold. This is the first widget that I want to talk about. Scaffold is the basic structure of your like any screen that you might want to create. Okay, scaffold contains things like app bar. Every application nowadays has an app bar, right? Material design suggests you that you should have an app bar and something like that, right? So we have an app bar. We have a body, and scaffold can have more things as well. For example, drawer. How many of you will have in Teams application only right now? If anyone has joined from smartphone, like if you go on top left of your Teams app, like there will be a drawer kind of thing, right? Which will like just come out from the left. So how to implement that now? You might ask. We can implement it pretty easily, right? How we do is this in this scaffold. Okay, we are inside of this scaffold, and these are all the properties of scaffold. So right here, okay. In line 23, I'm writing like this. So I guess line numbers will be messed up because I added some spaces. But here, I can share this code also later on. So yeah, I'm trying to add a drawer, DRAWER, and drawer, and pass it a drawer object. Just this one line I have added, which is not longer than like 20 to 25 characters. If I hit save and hot reload, I've actually pressed hot reload here. It's taking some time to like hot reload. All right, I think it will take some time to hot reload this. But the thing is that this exact piece of code we can also write in Dartpad if that works. Dartpad also supports Flutter code. It's just that like this looks much cleaner and close to and similar to that you might work on. No error in what the list is. Okay. So can we like look at what this error is? Outputs. I think this is a platform error this particular website is having. Okay, so it is simply saying that I cannot do anything in it right now. What else can I do here? Okay, we cannot wait for very long. If this site is not working, we definitely need to move on. All right, so like I don't know, some error occurred in this particular website, FluttLab, and it is not just reloading the project. Another place we can go to is dartpad.dev. Yeah, the same website we used to run this Dart. It also runs Flutter code. So yeah, let me just copy this entire thing from here and paste it here and try to run this now. The same issue, like it seems like something from my system is like not working, I guess. Is anyone able to like run this thing properly right now or what? Like anyone following along with this? Let's start. Let me try to start it again. Yeah, okay. It actually like building in background. Okay, so you see, like this is the drawer we added, and it is empty right now because we didn't added anything into it. But we can add a lot of things to it, right? And we can customize it to like any extent, however you might like it. So that's not an issue. So yeah, like see how like these 20-25 characters over here, like simply they added a drawer over here. Now I was talking about scaffold mainly, right? So this scaffold is a basically it's a structure of like all these things, like how to place this drawer, where to place this drawer. Like you see, automatically it is integrated into this app bar. We didn't have to define the icon for it. We didn't have to define like where to move, where how much this opacity should be of this thing. So all these features, this scaffold is giving us to us. Okay. So this is the scaffold. It is a basic structure of your screen. Okay. I understand it this way right now. So moving on to the next widget, that is the text, center, column, and row. Okay, so we'll try to cover all of these. So if this is not giving any more issues, where did this emulator go? All right, I think it will not give any more issues. All right. So you see, already we are using a center widget over here. Center above this container widget, right? Already we are having this center widget. So what the center widget is doing is, it is simply like centering this container. Like if anyone has tried to center a div in CSS, like, yeah, this is up and for that. So yeah, this is a center widget, and like it is centering this container simply on this entire screen that we are having. It's doing nothing else. So yeah, this is exactly what center does. It centers stuff. Like anything you give to it, like it will center it out. So we are already having a container over here. So let's not remove it. And what we can do, we can give it a child object like this. I can put comma and I can put a child. CHILD. And in this child, I can give text. Here it is, text. Inside of this text, I can write anything like session 4. And on Flutter. So let's try to save this. And now hopefully it will work. Yeah, it worked. So this is in little letters it is written over there. So let's try to modify this thing now. So let's try to like make its size bigger or something like that, so that it is at least readable, right? So yeah, we can see there are a lot of properties inside of it, like text style. All this should be very new to you if you are a beginner to Flutter, right? No one is expecting that you should know any of this, right? I'm just here to tell you that all these kinds of things exist. Okay. Font size, and there's a font size property. We can increase this thing, I guess, to 25. Like color also we can provide color. Color or font color. Okay, color. Colors dot white. Okay, so it is formatted now. Oh, here we go. Yeah, much better formatted. So let's save this thing and now try to hot reload. So you see our text size has been increased and our color is set to white. Let's increase it even more, like 35. And try to hot reload. Okay, now it is looking better. So this is simply text widget, right? Simple text widget that we have given a style parameter. And a style parameter takes text style object. And text style takes another parameters like font size, color, spacing, letter spacing, and lots of things like that. So anyone is facing any issues up till this point, you can just unmute yourself and ask. Any issues you might have, like even I ran into this issue, like it was not working with the hot reload thing, right? So yeah, any issues you might have, you can simply ask. And otherwise, there are two more widgets. There are row and column widgets. We can take these widgets also. So inside of this container, what we can do is, let's do it inside of this container, or let's take it out. I think we can create another container. So let's copy this container part of code. This much is the container, or is it this much? Yeah. So this is always an issue because there is no like better kind of marking, right? Where this container is starting and where it is ending. So I'm just cutting this container piece of code and adding a column instead of this column, and column takes a children parameter. And children takes a list of widget. So I can paste this container 2 times, and let's give it 2 different colors like green. Now let's save it and hot reload it. Column is simply like a vertical deck of widgets. Like you see, there is a vertical deck now. Like these 2 containers which are inside this column, right? These are all like having are below each other. So this is a column structure, basic column structure. There is similarly a row structure as well, which you can try it out. If you replace this like row, it will arrange in horizontal style, but let it be column for now. And you can change all of these things, like you can change it to session 3 maybe, introduction to Flutter. Yeah, we are already creating a simple kind of application here, right? We can create a courses application like this. Like this can be course 1, course 2. You can have lots of courses like this. How to load it? Instead of this simple colors, you can have like videos of your courses, and like you can have something like a button here that will say like enroll now or like watch now, something like that. So yeah, lots of stuff that you can do. We can also center this. So like this is the most parts that I wanted to cover today. And the thing which we are expecting was that you guys are trying to do this on your own on your system right now. I can share this code to you. If anyone is facing any issues, you can just try to like do a copy or follow along with this piece of code which I'm sharing right now. So I've shared the exact code which I'm having right now and which is working like this. So I think that will be the most of the things that I wanted to cover in this session today. And this will be serving you as a starting point for your journey into Flutter application development. And again, I'm repeating this that this particular piece of code that you have written here will work exactly the same in web. Like it's working in web right now. This is a web application. Okay, it's not an Android application. It might look like it, but here you see it's a web application. Web. So yeah, it is working in web right now. If I open Windows version in my own system right now in my Windows VS Code, I can create a Windows application .exe file, and in Mac I can create it in Android, APK in iOS, IPA I guess. So like all the platforms I can target, and this exact code will be there, and exact application will be there. So this is the thing that I really love about these hybrid platform frameworks, right? Write once and like your code runs almost everywhere with little to no modifications. So if anyone has any queries up till now or any issues that you might be facing, just unmute yourself and ask. Because like we are in the end of the section, end of this session right now. So basically Q&A section. Yeah. So yeah, any issues or any queries you might have, you can just simply unmute yourself and ask. And if not, just I'll share a feedback form, like you guys can fill that up. That we can also get like some feedback on like, did you like this session? Like, did you like what parts did you like, and all and things like that. And what all sessions do you want to watch next? Like Flutter session you want next, or like another, or like you want to switch tracks, like web or like HTML CSS sessions you want, like anything like that. So if anyone has any queries, you can just ask right now, or else I guess the session is mostly over. So we'll share a feedback form link to you guys, so you can fill that up, or else you can ask some doubts right now, or else you can just leave the session as yeah. So I think like for the most part it went well. Just a little issue that we ran into, but I think that was probably because I didn't save it. So yeah. Anyways, thank you again. Thank you all for joining in and learning about Flutter with this hands-on workshop. This was organized by GDSC UIT RGPV, and we are having our 10 days of open source program right now. If I go to this github.com, and if I go to this GDSC RGPV, yeah. So we are having a Flutter application also in our 10 days program. Here it is, Flutter Cool To Do. It's a simple to-do application that is made in Flutter. Similar like your Android, iOS, all these folders are same, right? Everything is the same. Lib folder is there. There's a main dot dot. Like if I go inside this main dot dot, all similar stuff you will find now. Everything will be like a little bit more familiar to you as compared to like if you are a complete beginner. So yeah, exact folder structure is there. Like this is main dot dot file, your void main, your my app, which is extending stateless widget, and things like that. So if you want to learn Flutter and contribute to this open source project of a to-do application in Flutter, you can simply go ahead into this URL and do that. All right then. I guess if no one has any questions, we can just end this session. Thank you very much for attending it. Do fill out the feedback form that we'll share. So that will be really helpful to us. All right. Yeah. Thank you very much.